Welcome to SOKY Sports Talk, covering all youth, middle school, and high school sports, local scores, interviews, and special guests for all aspects of youth sports reaching Warren County and surrounding areas. Good evening and welcome to SOKY Sports Talk. This is your host, Nathan Perkins, and my co-host this evening,
Drake Perkins.
And we'd like to welcome you to the basement. And we have a pretty full show this evening, I think. I know I've given you some information, but I don't know if you've done your homework, so we'll see what you've done.
Done a little bit. I'll be honest. I ain't done a whole lot, but I think I've done a little bit. So
we've decided to go ahead and start getting a agenda or how this is going to flow for us. So I'll kind of give you what you're going to talk about here tonight. We'll have a little welcome here about what we got going. Tonight we're going to talk about some different items that I would like to dig into. If we don't get done tonight, we'll definitely try to carry over into next week.
Yeah.
Drake's going to do the scores and highlights for us here in a minute for what we've got here recently. First thing we're going to do is go over since how we are talking about statistics, youth sports. There's some statistics and just some basic information that we could throw out there from the past, what's kind of going on now, and then what the 2025 looks like recreational wise, some other just youth sports general information that I thought would be kind of cool to share. But, if we only got a certain amount of time, and if we don't cover it, we'll pick it up next week.
Yep, absolutely.
So for this week, it's been kind of a lull in the sports world, I believe, around here.
Yeah, there's not very many games going on this week. It didn't look like nobody around this area played last night. So it looks like yesterday was Tuesday. Tuesday was the last couple games they played, and it looks like Bowling Green area, Barron County beat Russellville 83-45. Edmonson County beat Todd County Central 59-42. Foundation Christian Academy beat Hendersonville Christian Academy 82-33. This thing keeps resetting on me. Greenwood beat Franklin Simpson 52-45. Logan County beat Ohio County 60-47. Warren East beat Glasgow 61-39. And that's pretty much around this area that I'm seeing as of Tuesday. Any of those games sound like they want to take a deep dive into?
Not into this week. I think we're going to get you into your groove of your scores and highlights and all that. So we'll keep that going right now. But I do know that last couple things I'd like to talk about is I guess last week there was a lot of high-profile games here in Warren County.
Let me go back.
I know Bowling Green played Warren Central.
I'll take a look at that one.
I know South Warren played Greenwood, and I watched a little bit of the Greenwood South Warren game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I saw. I mean, I know South Warren come away with the win. I don't know what statistically the game looked like, and then I watched probably about a quarter and a half or 2 quarters. I really got enough information to give my opinion on the Warren Central Bowling Green game, but it was definitely. I don't know if you got to catch any of it, but it was definitely 2 different contrasts of basketball. And next week is probably one of our topics and I'll go over that at the end of the day, but the style that's being done right now, I don't know if you've noticed that. Like when we watched the Bowling Green game and the Warren Central game, it seemed more structured. They looked like they were actually calling some plays and they were doing some basketball and playing some basketball. One good thing I did notice about the Bowling Green Warren Central game was it didn't matter who they had come off the bench. They kept gelled and they played really, really well.
Yep.
The team was really intact. It didn't seem any different. So yeah, that was pretty good to see. I mean, and then Coach Unseld, you can't say enough about that guy over there.
No.
he can pretty much take any type of talent, any type of team, and he can make winners out of them. So kudos to that coach. He does a phenomenal job at Warren Central, and he's done a phenomenal job. And a lot of his players have over the years have done great things. So
Absolutely,
keep it up, Coach Unseld. You're doing a fantastic job over at Warren Central, and we notice it. So anything, just keep up the good work. Contrast: South Warren Greenwood.
Yeah.
I know that South Warren won that game. I don't know what the score was final score.
I'm going to take a look at that. Was that Friday?
Yeah, I think it was Friday. It was homecoming, so it was Friday.
Yep.
Whole different style.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll talk about that next week because I'd like to dive into some different basketball conversations.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I did notice, Greenwood, if they would have slowed the tempo down, they might have had a better shot. They tried to run with South Warren, and that is not. They struggle with that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I did notice in that game that is South Warren is more structured per se. They play better basketball when they've got Owen Shively at the helm running the point guard position.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, I noticed that a lot. They rotate in and out, but I think for them to be successful the rest of the season, I think they've got to ensure that he's on point, that he's running the show out front on the top of the key, and that they are working to get Raritan. Raritan pretty well got shut down in the first part of that game. I saw he did do some good comebacks, but I don't know. Again, it looked like a lot of run and gun basketball to me, and I think Greenwood got out of their groove and they could have done a little bit better. But statistically, I don't know. We'll get that better next time. We'll work on that from here on out. Try to get some statistics and play some other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
so the score of that game was 78-67 South.
so it wasn't a blowout.
No, but it wasn't a close game either.
Mm-hmm. I believe, if I remember, I think the fourth quarter they kind of got to run away.
Yeah, we'll take a quarter by quarter here.
I know there was a little scuffle there somewhere around the third or fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Emotions are high in any sport anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to, as the coaches and as parents, we've got to learn to control that. I know it gets high and it gets emotional, but that's one of the topics of our conversation tonight. But like I said, and FYI, we're going to try to keep this to an hour. I think 39 minutes was pretty good. An hour is probably max. Yep. So we'll try to keep it under an hour. But go ahead.
But it looks like, you're talking about Owen Shively, but actually Thad Hall led scoring. Actually, him and Bryce were tied 14 points that game, and then Jackson Decker was at 12.
But I don't look at it from a scoring. See, that's what we're different as. You look at it from a statistical, analytical data, and I do like analytics. Yeah. We're going to talk about analytics. I do like data. It does help make decisions. But if you did an aerial view and you watched how the team functioned, how the team played, to me, when Shively is at the helm, it just seemed more fluid.
Yep.
But no, Thad Hall's a phenomenal ball player. He's doing really well. So kudos to him as well. But I think Coach Q's in his third year.
I think so. Second or third.
Second or third. So I think that's the furthest anybody's ever stayed at the helm of leading the South Spartans in basketball.
Yeah, for a couple years. It's been a couple years.
It's been a couple years. So kudos to him as well.
Yep.
For hanging in there and working with these kids, because I believe there's a lot of talent over there, and they just need to they need a consistent coach.
Yeah,
once you get a consistent coach, it seems to run better. But
that's why I think Bowling Green is doing so good with D.G. Sherrill at the helm over there at Bowling Green.
Yeah, he's been there how many years now?
Oh gosh,
I don't. Yeah,
it's been a while. It's been
a long time. So yeah, and then Unseld's been involved with the program at Warren Central for a while.
Yep.
I don't. Is it Macy? Is that the coach at Greenwood?
McCoy.
I knew I was him. Yeah. I think McCoy's a newer coach as well, and he's been there for,
I'd say, less than 5 years. Maybe.
Yeah, less than 5 years.
Maybe.
I'd say if you're under 5 years, you're still helping. You're developed your feet. You've got your feet on the ground. You're developing the program, but you're trying to get the system to work for your players.
Yep.
So kudos to them. So anyway, enough of sports and scores. Let's get into our show for this evening. So a couple of things that's happened this week. I'm going to share a couple different odd and end things.
Yep.
One, we had an unfortunate this week. You may not know the man, but Danny Carruthers.
Okay.
He is a um, staple in the Warren County Youth Football League. He is a staple in this community, and he passed away the other
Oh man.
night. I didn't know the gentleman like personally.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him out at the football field. I've taught with him a little bit at the football field, so I knew of the gentleman, but I knew of all the work he'd done.
Yep.
I mean, for the west side of Bowling Green and the youth over there, he was a mentor that was unbelievable for them, and it's a great loss for them. But I firmly believe that he mentored enough kids over the years of his lifespan
mm-hmm.
that somebody will step up
yep.
and we'll see what Danny did and we'll take that and we'll do that. But he was very active in that demographic on that side of Warren County. He really took his heart and soul into those kids over there, and it is a great loss. But
Absolutely.
His handprint, footprint, staple on this area was left in a positive manner.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of kids that were mentored by him that will, somebody will step up
yep.
and take his place because he's mentored so many and somebody that will jump in there and take that over. Yep. One of the other things, this has nothing to do with SOKY Sports, but the old alma mater.
Yep.
Shout out to Braden Singleton from LaRue County, 2027 graduate. He was on the Dream Series for the MLB network. He was actually on the network, and so it's good to see some old alma mater schools cut some stuff in there. So I had to mention Braden, go Braden Singleton. I know we're not from up there, and we're not talking about SOKY Sports, but hey, I keep up with the LaRue County Hawks up there in LaRue County.
So you're from there. I mean, it's what, an hour?
Yeah.
So it's local. That's local enough.
But they're ranked in Max Prep's top 25.
Baseball.
No. Basketball. Right
Basketball.
Now. They're
okay.
Yeah, they're ranked up in there, so they're hanging their own up in there.
Okay.
So anyway, that's enough of that. A little bit of that. So one of the items that I thought we would talk about is, like I said, we're statistic guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've got to find my notes here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought we could do to talk about, some youth sports stuff that's going on is there are some I can't get it out.
Statistics?
Yeah, youth sports statistics. This is by an article by Jersey Watch by Mike Keenan. And we won't talk about all of it. We'll go over his statistics and we can break it down and, I don't know, just ask questions and we'll just discuss it. Because I might say, well, what do you think about that? Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah.
But he's got about 12 youth sports statistics of 2025 that he sees coming. And this is strictly youth. Some of it I agree with. I've read through it. Some of it I don't. But we'll see what happens.
Yep.
So one of the interesting facts, that's the number one fact that's out there in youth sports right now in the U.S., is there are approximately 60 million kids registered to play youth sports in the United States.
Wow. So does that include all like big sports, or is that all sports in total?
That is all sports. So they take that, when they take this, they take it from the looks like they're using from the National Youth Sports Council. So that's a conglomerate of different sports, but 60 million. That's a lot. High.
That's a lot.
Which is good because that's youth sports. That means these kids aren't sitting on their asses and not doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not sitting on video games, this, that, and the other. And there's some more discussion about that later, but it just means that it's high. It's the youth development sports are high. With that with the high amount of kids becomes a lot of responsibility.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the discussions we'll have later on is the fall of the responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, that's on here. 81% of Americans agree that sports are important.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I mean, sports in general teach a lot of different aspects.
Yep. Just physically, it makes you feel better. As a former athlete, I'm sure you agree with me. Physically, it makes you feel better. I mean, and then for me, we're gonna go a little personal route, but it helped me mentally with school, going through school. I mean, that little break after school, having a hard day of school, getting out and running miles like I did, it was mind clearing.
Yeah, it's a mental break, just like you said.
Yep.
But school teaches you some fundamental things that get you through life, but I'm a firm believer that sports, um, any type of sports, whether it be from football to I don't know, pickleball is becoming a sport in
Yeah,
high school. I've
that's
seen that's
becoming a
one of
big
the other
sport.
articles. So I mean, those things teach you other life skills and
Yep.
life skills that we have to
Yep.
get through. So number 3, this one might be interesting to you.
Okay.
Youth sports participation is down in children aged 6 through 12.
Yeah. It's like you said, I could potentially see that. I mean, with this video games becoming big, most of these kids want to do that.
It looks like, according to the information that he's put in his report or his article, that it's a drop from 2021 from 38 to 37. It was up to 45 in 2008.
Wow.
2020 was COVID, pandemic, lockdowns, and all that kind of stuff, but it's never came back up.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting.
That is
But
interesting.
when we get into the other ones, you'll figure out. I think we can put 2 and 2 together of why that is.
Yeah.
And that was one of the articles. Number 4 statistic that's out there. I think there's 12 of these, but we'll go through them. This one is interesting. So younger children aren't sticking with youth sports. 70% of kids are quitting sports by the age of 13.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I think that is?
We got time for this conversation?
Yeah, this is the conversation. Again, conversate, and then if we don't get to it, then we'll come back. Why? Okay, that you opened up Pandora's box.
All right, here we go.
So why are 13 years younger starting? My question to you is, why in the hell are we doing travel sports at 8 years old?
I think 10 years old is when it starts, when it should start.
I disagree. I think it's 12.
Okay.
I think when you are starting to physically change, and I mean, we don't start puberty in some individuals till probably closer to 14 and 15 and 16, but 12 is when you start developing more sports IQ, in my opinion. When you hit the 12, let's give an example of baseball. That's our wheelhouse.
That's our way. Yep.
At baseball at 12 years old, what do you do when you start 12 years old?
Middle school usually.
Middle school.
But you
On
go
a
to the
big field, 12 or 13. Was it 9 or 10? You start playing
the 50,
coach
70.
pitch. You start pitching at 9 or 10.
Yes.
Minor league baseball.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and then, so I have a problem with 8U travel sports. Either whether it be soccer, whether it be baseball, whether it be
basketball,
football,
especially is big down there in the South.
Yeah,
travel football. I don't know if they call it travel football, but
yeah. So the two things that I think, and I can be guilty just as the next guy, but I think the two things that are for me is a burnout.
Yep.
Is a form of burnout, and then the big one that we'll conversate about multiple times over this, because I can be that parent, but it's to overly competitive parents.
Yep, I would agree.
I mean, burnout, if you start playing travel baseball or travel football or travel basketball at 8U, these kids will get burned out.
Yep.
Now, I know for us at this house, I know that you guys, I think Owen's the only one that's starting in travel sports, but you did some odd and end travel. Not travel. There wasn't really a travel.
Just independent
races when you got to be a little older. But, I think he started at 10.
I think so. Maybe 9
or 10. And, we didn't fully divulge or divest into it until, I don't know, he was 10 or 11.
I think when we started our team.
Yeah. Well, no, he was on another travel program for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
So, but for me, the reason the younger kids are not is, unfortunately, us as parents, and then burnout is another one.
Yep.
The other thing is, at the younger age groups, to me, anything between 12 and 13, that younger, we've got to quit putting so much pressure on these kids to be perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, these are still kids. We forget that. And, sports need to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people will blast me. Well, there's competitive side of sports.
Yeah,
there is competitive side to sports. But if you remember, I was a coach that always ensured that we did what? We learned the fundamentals.
Mhm.
We executed the
Yep.
fundamentals. We ensured we were better sportsmen, and we also learned the game.
Yep.
But then we had fun.
Yep.
Now we all want to win.
Who
Everybody
doesn't?
wants to win.
Yeah.
But as a coach, as a parent, you got to know your capabilities. You
Yep.
got to know what you're doing, what you're dealing with. So if you're overly competitive, you're running it for your child.
Yep.
That's my opinion, and that is a parent's opinion as well.
Yeah.
I really think that sometimes I could be harsh, but again, when I was coaching the kid, what would frustrate with me would be the kids that have the ability and the capability that wouldn't apply themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like anything else. It's like anything else. If you don't apply yourself on your grades and your education, that's on you, and you're going to suffer for that.
Yep.
So that's my opinion.
Talking about parents as well. For me, looking out, I'm not a parent, so I'm looking out, looking in. I see a bunch of these parents who are trying to live their dreams for these kids too. That's another thing that I've seen.
I'm not going to argue that.
I
always make the comment watching youth football. I look around and go, as far as I know, Nike's not here to sign a contract deal.
Oh, Nick Saban ain't here no more.
Nick Saban's not around here no more. So, I mean, we can harp on this all day, and, but it really has, I think that's correct. I think parents they're vicariously living through their kids.
Absolutely.
Oh, my child's got more athletic ability than I did.
Yeah.
That may not be what he wants to do.
No.
I mean, I've seen multiple athletic kids that have played multiple sports, and that's not their desire.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've only played X amount of X sport because mom and dad wanted me to.
Yep.
I wanted to do this.
Yep.
So I mean, vicariously living through your kids. Yeah.
Yep.
That's another one. So that's a whole
conversation.
That's a whole conversation, and I think it can be sport specific as well.
Yeah.
But it's more prominent in certain sports. It's more prominent in I would say in the sports that parents will try. How do I say that? That parents were involved in.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff our age, that are parents' age, probably didn't have a lot of lacrosse or soccer or bowling, or it was more football, baseball, softball,
basketball.
Yep. And that's where I think you see the more domineering burnout, more domineering of overly competitive parents.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, number 5. We'll move along because again we're gonna build on these subjects as we go.
Yeah.
Number 5. Older children are playing youth sports more often than younger kids. So 54. So the ages of 6 to 12 group is what we're saying. So more of the older kids. So it says 54% of high school students are report participating in team sports at school. So, high school sports participation is way up. Versus we just said that 6 to 13 or 12 is down.
Yeah.
Why do you think the high school sports is way up?
I just think maybe more possibilities with all these other new sports that are starting to come up. Like bass fishing is a new sport in this area that wasn't a sport 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't think that's kind of new opportunity for some of these kids who want to try a high school sport, but they just can't find the right one because they didn't grow up playing baseball, didn't play football, playing basketball, but they grew up fishing. So they said, "Oh yeah, there's something for me to do in high school." But what's your thought on that?
I believe that we have this still, again, it becomes this thought in our head that, school's expensive.
Yeah.
High school or college is expensive.
Yeah.
So everybody's chasing the dream.
Yeah.
So I think that they're trying to chase a dream of, making college sports, and I've got that wrote down as a topic too. So we've got some topics coming down the way. Just wait on down there. But I think that's another topic, and I think that college, the misconception of colleges, and as well as I do, we're in the thick of it right now.
Yep.
With Owen being a junior. We've talked to multiple college coaches, we even talked to a recruiting,
specialist coordinator,
whatever you call him. So we have a lot of information that we're going to get into because we're going to talk about progressing on to college, our opinions, how we think it works, some of the things that we've learned over the years, and the big one into that is I've read a lot more and been reading a lot more is the NIL stuff
Mm-hmm.
and how that's affecting. That'll even stay in here, but I think it's more of trying to progress in the college world. But I think that participation in high school sports is up also for the simple fact that it's community. It's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's about being a part of a team.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to be a part of something.
Yep.
Nobody. I don't believe truly nobody wants to be a loner. Nobody wants to just sit in the room and not associate or not do anything with it. So sports is pretty easy. It's one you can get into.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different activities. You can be average in anything and still play.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a superstar.
No.
But you got to know your limits and your boundaries.
Yeah.
You're not going to go to college if you're average or you're not going to go to college, but you can still be a part of a team. You can still participate. You can still what's the word move forward? Contribute.
Yeah, contribute. There you go.
So that's the two reasons I think that high school participation is up. So, what we on number 5 or 6? 5, 6. The most popular youth sports are now basketball, soccer, and baseball.
Wow,
That's the top 3.
That is surprising that football's not on there.
So to go through some of his statistics here, the most common youth sports children are playing are basketball. About 36.8% of kids out of that 60 million are playing basketball. That's high.
That is high.
We'll take that statistic and go into our conversation about basketball next week. But that's an interesting statistic. That's almost 50% playing basketball. Soccer is number 2.
Wow.
At 26.5%. And baseball is at 24.1%.
Wow.
So that's it, yeah. And I mean, this is a list of 39 different sports, it says, and these are sports from those that we've mentioned, and it even includes stuff like now some of these high schools around here are kind of not around here, but in other areas.
Mm-hmm.
Parkour is a sport, high school sport.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 1.1% of the 60 million actually participate.
Wow.
There's another one called squash, and I have no idea what the hell that is.
I couldn't tell you.
0.7% participate in that.
Okay.
And even fencing. Now, I know what fencing is.
Yeah.
1.4%
participate. See, I didn't even know that was a high school sport, I'll be honest with you.
Well, it probably is in certain areas. I'm not sure what areas it would be.
New England area, maybe?
Probably. I would assume California area, maybe. But, I mean, I'm sure rowing is somewhere up around Boston or somewhere. Boston. I'm sure that's up around there. So, but anyway, it's kind of interesting to hear those statistics. What sport wasn't in there?
Football.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Like I said, I thought for sure with football being one of the most watched sports on TV, most followed sport, it'd be one of the best or one of the highest percentage in high school.
Well, this is recreational now. Don't forget, this is recreational to high school. This is probably our wheelhouse of what our conversation. This is from 6. I would say sports start around the age of 6 up until the age of high school.
Okay, so
graduated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
because football around here doesn't start till 8 years old.
Yeah, I think you can. If I remember, you can opt in based on weight.
Oh, okay.
They have weight limits and weight classes. If you're a certain amount of weight, you have to play up. But if you're, I mean, I fitted a kid 2 years ago that looked like he was about 40 pounds, and he looked like he was about 5 years old. And, I mean, as long as they sign a waiver, I think they'll let them play with the board's approval. So,
okay,
yeah, it's football numbers are down.
Like I said, that's very surprising.
It is, but it's not. I mean, I think a lot of it, and we'll get into this. Actually, I think the next 2 will explain a lot of it.
Okay.
So number 7, okay?
Okay.
Families whose children play organized sports tend to be in the lower income brackets. So this has said that the Aspen Institute survey has determined that 22.3% of families have a household income of $25,000 to $49,000 a year. So that's the medium income for the most active kids.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the other topics that we'll try to get to tonight, and you'll have to keep me on track on time. One of the other ones that hopefully if we don't, we'll get to next week,
mm-hmm.
is the article basically stated that the pricing of sports is driving kids out.
Wow.
And we'll go through some of the statistics information. A lot of this information, like yours says, wow, this is interesting. I hope for our viewing audience that they kind of get an understanding of why some of the sports situation why it is. One of my favorite topics, the closer we get to baseball season, we will be talking a lot about baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the topics that I'd like to talk that we're going to discuss is the watering down version of travel ball.
Yep.
And we will get into that conversation. It will be a very disliked conversation because I like travel ball. I've been a travel ball coach. Owen plays travel ball. But then on the other flip side of that, it's been watered down.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've experienced it. We've lived it. And we're going to discuss it.
Yep.
Because I think it needs to be discussed. I think
does.
it needs to be brought up.
It does.
I think it needs to be brought out there. So that was an interesting stat. So number 8, the annual cost let me back up there. Annual cost varies by sports. So again, this is not travel.
Mm-hmm.
This is just recreational, everyday, high school to recreational sports. We know travel is a completely different animal when it comes to cost.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's to me that's a separate bin of conversation as far as costing. But basically, the average family spends about $883 a year on youth sports. Almost $1,000 a year just for these kids to play sports. Now,
wow.
So, and it'll give you the average cost. These were in 2022, so they're about 2 years old, right around 2 years old.
2, 3 years old.
Yeah, well, it's just 2025 beginning. Don't push it on any further than it is. But it says examples of in 2022, it cost an average family per player. Now, just think if you had 4 kids that played soccer.
Yep.
So this is what it would be: $1,188 for soccer.
Wow.
A year.
That
is recreational. That is high school. That is no club or travel programs. That is strictly that.
You said it's for 1 kid or for 4 kids?
That's one child.
Ooh-wee.
One athlete.
So about $4,500 for 4 kids.
Yeah, for a complete year. Yep. $1,002 for basketball.
Okay.
Still pretty elevated.
Yeah, still pretty high.
$714 for baseball.
That's kind of low. That's kind of low, in my opinion.
It is low, but you don't put it in the bucket of travel.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm doing.
I mean, if you look at you look around here, what it costs for the kids to play recreational baseball or softball. I don't remember exactly, but I think per child it's like $120 a season. So it's not that bad.
No, it's no.
I mean, it is in terms of 5 kids trying to play.
Yeah.
For one child, so it kind of it depends on which perspective you want to look at it.
Yeah.
$714 for baseball. We talked about $581 for tackle football. So, and then the unfortunate part is families are allocating significantly less money each year to their child's sports. I mean, we can't afford to.
Yeah. No.
I mean, the facts are the facts. When you have to cut something, it's usually extracurricular activities.
Yep.
You got to eat.
Yeah.
You got to get to work.
Yeah. You got to sleep.
You got to have clothes. So that's the unfortunate part.
Yeah. But that's surprising that football is, I guess, the lowest maybe because they require a lot more equipment than any of the other sports.
Well, I don't know how other areas do recreational. I know in Warren County it's rented.
Okay.
So Warren County here in youth football, they supply pads. They supply a helmet and pads, and then your uniform costume will give you. They have the integrated pants, so they don't have all the pads. It's the integrated pants.
Yeah.
And then you get a jersey.
Okay.
So I mean, I think it's $155 to play football.
Oh, okay.
For a season. But I mean, you think about it, you're going to get to keep your jersey. And well, I think they keep their jersey in their integrated pants.
Yeah,
But
I think
the
so.
helmet and the
Pads.
they do turn back in.
Okay.
I do know that for a fact. So
Okay.
it is a little cost more effective for the way they do it because the county invests at that point. The county invests in the athletes
Yeah.
to ensure they have the equipment they need.
Yeah.
Because football is expensive,
It is.
as you said. A good set of, not sure what brand, like shoot um, pads,
Mm-hmm.
is probably $200 or $300.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not cheap.
Wow.
Helmets are ridiculous.
Oh, I can guarantee it.
And with the new requirements through recreational sports and all these other divisions, with the concussion protocols, they're getting even more padding and more requirements. So it's getting to be a little bit more expensive.
Wow.
So number 9 on our list here, the majority of Americans are interested in public funding for youth sports.
That's kind of what we talked about there.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of hard to disagree with that.
Yeah, so they're 52% of Americans say public funding would have the biggest impact on youth and school sports. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
again, when schools themselves are looking at cutting or reducing, well, you've seen and I've seen over the years, programs completely cut,
mm-hmm.
and that's where it comes from. Sports.
Yep. First thing.
Usually the first one, and that gets cut is the music programs, and that is old music person myself. I think that's completely wrong. I understand that you could have an argument back and forth between music being cut and sports being cut, but to me, if you're going to cut a program in schools that is publicly funded, I would say you would need to cut extracurricular activities with sports. Sports have other options.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like if they cut the football program, you can still go play 7-7 football.
Yeah.
If they cut the baseball program, you can still play travel baseball. But what everybody forgets is there are recreational leagues. I don't think there's recreational football, but I know here in Warren County you can play baseball till you're 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So there are options.
Mm-hmm.
I think basketball, if I'm not mistaken, you can play until you're 18.
Okay.
In certain divisions, I think the city carries the upper age groups. I don't think I know Warren County does not have anything over like 12 or 13.
Oh, okay.
But I think the city organizations carry it higher. So, but if they could allocate the money and not cut where that's needed, I think it'd be great.
Yeah,
but
it would be.
I think you've got to figure out where to get that money from.
Yeah.
Number 10. Statistical things here. Most youth athletes are playing community-based sports, which is recreational sports.
Yeah.
So the majority of youth athletes now are up to 58.4%.
Wow.
So almost 60% of your kids nowadays are playing recreational. Now, it'd be very interesting to see how that works in our area, in our SOKY listing area. I would believe that that's completely different.
Yeah.
On some different levels and different items. I think that would be different. I don't think that
wouldn't be as high, I don't think.
I don't think it'd be as high here. And then, if you look at some other statistics they throw into that category, it says 27.5% on that play travel or club sports, which definitely is more expensive.
Yeah, absolutely.
39.2% play on their own friends and family teams. Not sure how that works. Unless you're not that's like it was ours, where you have a group that we've developed a team and like friends and family and we're playing, or maybe it's not recreation. What's the other one they call it? Intramural.
Yep.
Yep.
But
then it turns around and says 28.5% are playing intramural sports at school, and then 30.2 play interscholastic school sports, which is like high school.
Yeah.
Middle school sports. So,
wow.
Yeah. So a lot of it is, parks and recs departments and all that offer, and gyms offer free play. So you can put a team together and y'all can go hey, let's go down here to
Buchanan Park.
Yeah, Buchanan Park, and see what team we can pick up and play against. So
Yeah.
it's still sports. It's not organized per se,
Yeah.
but it's still recreational.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we got 2 more to cover here,
Okay.
and we'll see what we get into next. Number 11. Sports vary in popularity year after year. That is super easy to figure out. And I'm going to see what you come up with.
Okay.
Why do you think that is?
That's tough. I'll be honest. Every year is a different high sport. So does it have like a breakdown of the past 5 years?
So I'll just explain to you what this says here. It shows that over, this is 20 to 21. Looks like soccer was up 19.5%, swimming was up 11.9%, and volleyball was up 4.8%. Lacrosse, tackle football, and wrestling were down the most. Think about the 3 sports I just stated: soccer, swimming, volleyball.
That's Olympic sports.
Correct.
And 2020 was an Olympic year. So you think it's based on what is popular that year?
I think it is. And I think whoever's the it for that year. Like I don't know what was in that year. I
think that was the Olympics that year.
Yeah, so I mean,
but that was right at COVID start too.
Yeah. But you think about it, soccer. The women's soccer team was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So you had a big growth in soccer because they all wanted to be like that. And I think the men's soccer team. Swimming got huge for the Olympics.
Yeah.
When you had what's his name? We're not big athletes on the swimming side of stuff.
See, Michael Phelps was done retired by then.
Yeah, but you still had that whole people that saw that, that it lived that and was involved in that. So, but swimming got big, I think, because of some of that. And then the next one it shows is volleyball. Volleyball, to me, in this area is continually growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
It's grown, but I think it's grown to the same thing that we're seeing in other sports. If you can't make the high school team, then we go play club sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even with volleyball in Warren County, maybe even the surrounding areas, we got club organizations and we've got travel organizations. And I've seen on the Book of Faces the other day, some of our friends, they're traveling like all year round.
Wow.
For volleyball. But again, it's like anything else. The scholarships are available now. Mm-hmm. And that's, like I said, we'll get into some of that conversation about NIL capping and all that stuff. But that's another one. I think it's more basically, my opinion is that it's based on what's hot that year. Like, I guarantee you, this year, 2025, what's going to be the hottest sport?
2025. Nothing's been big so far, obviously, early in the year.
Girls basketball.
Yeah.
Because of
Caitlin
Clark.
Yep.
So, which is a great mentor, she's a great role model and all that kind of thing. But I think it'll vary. I think football is going to drop. I think the popularity of football is falling.
What makes you think that it's falling?
I think it's too watered down. I think you can't. Back when you could play football, you could play football.
Yeah.
I can't even watch it with you.
It's.
We were talking the other day, and you breathe on some of these quarterbacks. I won't say Patrick Mahomes' name. But if you breathe on him, you get a flag, and then you see that kid from the Lions get absolutely obliterated, and there's no flag.
Yeah.
So it's the whole gamut. They swore up and down for years that wrestling was scripted and wrestling was fake. I still to this day don't think it is. I think it's real. Wrestling is real. WWE is real. No, I'm kidding.
WCW is real.
WCW, I'm kidding. None of it's real. But I think that people are starting to coincide that. I think they're starting to think that football's scripted.
And believe it or not, wrestling is starting to get big again. It's, I guess, all these old guys that I used to grow up watching, old Rock, John Cena when he was big, Randy Orton, they've started to come back. So now you're developing again for that.
But, so, again, I don't see the statistic, but wrestling has been down. It was down 11.5%. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, it is. That's quite a bit.
But again, the more the popularity becomes back, I think those numbers will come up.
Yeah.
Because you're right. I think, Netflix has taken over
Yep.
some of the things. But
They act like that first couple shows of WWE on Netflix were huge.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
it sold it was just ridiculous.
Mhm.
So, oops, I'm going to have to go back. I did a boo-boo. Hang on just a minute. I missed the 12th one.
But the other thing about the WWE on Netflix is they've kind of lightened up what they could say. It's kind of more free talk, as we'll say, instead of kind of, no, you can't say that because of TV rights. The TV channel won't let us say that. So it's kind of, I guess, I ain't going to say freedom of speech, but kind of freedom of speech from.
Correct.
But,
yeah. So, number 12, last one. We'll move on to the next subject.
Okay.
Girls play sports less than boys. That's been the biggest one.
Yeah.
Now, I got a feeling that will change.
I think so too.
It shows that just the girls are less likely to participate. And it says the driving force. It doesn't really give an answer. It doesn't have any. It just says nearly 2/3 quit by the time they're 17. And I don't know. There could be a lot of different.
Do you think opportunities is one of the biggest driving factors? Or do you think there's something else?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know on that one. I think that I firmly believe that girls are just as good in girls' sports as boys are in boys' sports.
Yeah.
I think they're just as capable. They have talents that are out there, and they're capable of doing what sport they've all been. Everybody that's an athlete to me has been blessed by the good Lord with a talent.
Yeah.
And it's just exposing that and utilizing.
Yep.
Why do I think they quit by 17? I don't have a really good answer for you because I don't really understand. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, your older sister, she actually ran in college, so she didn't quit at 17.
No.
Your younger sister, she quit earlier, but she was not.
She excelled in the classroom though.
Exactly. So. She was super smart. So I honestly believe. We talked this through. I honestly believe that I think girls find their niche
a little faster. Yeah, Yeah.
I think we're all boys, so we want to be that athlete until we're being told we can't be that athlete.
Yep.
At 50 years old, we're still trying to be an athlete. You
Yep.
just go out here and watch them play sport. Watch them play basketball out.
Hey, watching them play slow pitch softball, you'll see that.
Yeah. Go to church league softball, right?
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, boys have a harder time to putting it down and admitting they're too old to play or whatever.
Yeah.
I think girls, that's my opinion. I think girls realize that somewhere along the way that I have a better niche for something that I'll be more successful at.
Yeah.
And they're more motivated to excel in that than they are sports, where we're always going to try to beat the next guy next to us.
Yeah.
It's just our mentality.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in a nutshell. That's the end of that little conversation topic.
Yeah. Where we at?
We're about 48 minutes. Well, we're about 50 or 45 minutes. So we'll go through this next one real quick, and then we'll save a couple one for the last one. So the next one, the topic that we'll talk about is that we just discussed the statistics of sports, but kind of leads into the other thing. And one of them is the in and outs of youth sports.
Okay.
So I got two different articles I read here. I was trying to figure out which one we use. I'm going to use this one.
So where you want to start?
Well, this one's the in and outs of youth sports, and then I've got an article that's about in and outs of youth sports parenting.
Oh,
we better
man.
save the parenting.
Yeah,
next time.
let's say that for.
So let's do the in and out of sports
because we could probably do a youth sport parent whole episode if we really wanted to.
Yeah, and it's bad because I was just as bad as one. I'll admit I was one of them parents. I'm not gonna lie. At times, but I've gotten older and wiser and whatever you want to call it.
I mean, I think everybody has those moments, but I think some of them just can't get past them moments.
Right. So, this was a list of the in and outs of youth sports for 2024, and this will probably carry over to 2025. And this is kind of, again, for our audience, this is all based on from 6 years old to high school. All these information, these articles that I find and read and look up and stuff, so are relative to that age group.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things that's big that people may not agree with is playing time for everyone. Now, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But apparently that is in. And one of the things that we're saying nowadays, and I don't disagree, is that we're building confidence when we let everyone play. We're developing character, and everyone gets better. Now, in recreational sports, I don't disagree with it.
No, I think that's how it should be.
But I think we've got individuals that forget that when we go to coach.
Yeah.
When you're playing Pee Wee League football, and you're playing, football with what 8, 7, 8, 9. We forget that we're there as coaches and mentors to teach the fundamentals, and with football, safely play the game.
Yep.
I mean, you don't want an 8-year-old being done with the sport because we didn't properly teach him to tackle.
Yep.
With his head up, down, all that kind of stuff. But the only way that these kids get opportunities to get better and do that is they have to play.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Reps are the best.
Yeah, and we've always said it. Me and you both said that. Reps are the best. Reps are the rest. Reps are the best. The problem is we as coaches get in the way.
Yeah.
And in youth and younger recreational sports, you've got to swallow your pride sometimes as a coach and be understanding you're developing for the future. This kid at 8-year-old may be a stud, but I can promise you, if he's a stud at 8, he's not potentially going to be a stud at 14 years old.
Yep.
He once everybody catches up to that kid, they've already plateaued or they've already gone as far as they're going to go.
Yeah.
It does happen.
Yep.
I've seen it. I've got numerous examples of where I've seen kids that are playing at. The prime example is the Little League World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids, to me, and I could be wrong when I say this, but a lot of those have plateaued or maxed out their ability.
Mm-hmm.
They are maxed out.
Yeah.
And then the rare few that do go on and continue to play, and you've seen names that go to the World Series and they're on, or
Frank Close. Chris Bryant's one of them.
yeah, and they're playing professional baseball or professional sports.
Yeah.
But again, it's minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen kids that go do that, and then now they're in their junior, senior, sophomore years, and everybody's caught up with them, and they have just plateaued. And when they do that, if we as coaches and as parents, we don't continue to push them, then they get complacent, and then they get mad when they don't get playing time because there's somebody else that's worked their ass off and they're better than them.
Yep.
So, in recreational sports, again, you have to get back out of the high school, middle school, even in middle school. I still think that there will be opportunity for everybody to play.
Mm-hmm.
Middle school sports are just training grounds. They're the kids that have decided, that I want to play high school basketball or I want to play in college, and they're going to stick out the team, and they're good enough to make your squad. Don't sit those kids. If you've picked them up, play them, because it only helps your high school program. And you may find a diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
So
you talking about middle school? If I'm not mistaken, middle school baseball, they have 2 games at night. If I'm not mistaken, so you could have 2 different teams at that point.
Yeah, and we can discuss middle school baseball in depth later when we get to baseball, but that's a waste. So anyway, middle school baseball is a waste. I just don't like it.
But it's reps.
It is reps, but you do realize that in Warren County and in surrounding areas, we do have recreational baseball again that starts in place till 18.
Yeah.
So
that's a whole different conversation.
We'll move on from that one. Another item that's in is being kind to officials.
I don't know if it's in. I don't know if it's in right now. It may be on the way out from some of these videos I've seen on the internet.
I see a lot of it. I see it on the Book of Faces. I see it on Twitter. I see it on this stuff.
We've dealt with it firsthand.
I've dealt with it. I've had a coach get in my face with his church shirt on where he was a associate, whatever, past. I don't know. Anyway, I ain't saying names, but it's like dude, you're not
Yeah.
playing for a high school coaching position.
No.
So we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do this for a full-time job.
No.
I do this for sometimes it was $35 a game.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not worth listening to these yahoos yelling, screaming, from be annoying as shit
No.
at you. It's not. But you do it for the kids.
Yeah, you do.
And that's what we used to tell each other. And that's what I used to tell the other umpires. We are here for the kids.
Yeah.
Ignore that garbage and send them home. Now, there is a flip-flop, and we can get into that conversation on another show, is the empowerment now that's been given by umpires. So there's a little bit of a give and pull, or push and pull on there. I understand, we're getting paid as an umpire to umpire, and, we should get the calls right. But, again, that's why it's been developed over the years. You can argue any call you want, but do not argue balls and strikes.
Yeah, that's...
And we still have people that want to argue balls and strikes.
Yeah.
Well, I've been getting that call all year long. Well, guess what? I'm not here all year long.
Yeah. I'm just here today.
Yeah. So, but that's another one.
Yeah.
But and I don't understand why we are so hard on officials. We forget they're human.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, and this we don't want to get on this tangent too long, but I don't think and I've heard multiple officials tell me, I don't go to these games to specifically piss off that parent.
Yeah.
Because I don't like them, so I'm going to call everything against their team.
Yeah.
And there's not a single official out there that would ever do that.
No, absolutely not.
Well, except for the ones that the Kansas City Chiefs bring in.
Yeah. That's That's a different story.
That's a different conversation. But in high school, youth sports, this, that, and the other. I know that. I'll give you an example that South Warren or South Little League, they actually use a lot of the South Warren baseball team for their games.
Do they?
Yeah. So if you want to be man enough or woman enough and get in a high school kid's face because he's trying to call and make a little money and do the best he can, God, you're a piece of crap to me.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I mean, will he miss a call? Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll admit I missed a few.
Right. But the problem is these are kids that are trying to make extra money.
Yeah.
They're trying to learn their craft of their game. They're trying to get better understanding the game. They're trying to they're actually there for a reason.
Yep.
Not just to make $40 a game.
Yeah.
A lot of them will take that and they'll use it. I mean, Owen's out called some games. He's come home, made some conversations, talk about, hey, I learned this. They learned the rules that way. So, I don't know. I just feel like you're a piece of garbage if you're going to get to hate, like kids. I've seen it. I've absolutely seen it.
I've seen it too.
And, now if it's a grown man, that's different.
Yeah.
And you want to do that?
I'm still a big fan of you getting in somebody's face like that, but
there's YouTube videos all over.
Yeah, I know.
Shit out of somebody. So, I mean, I don't know.
I guess we'll stop that conversation because that one will go on for a while.
Well, then what? Yeah, we have shortages, so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. There's only one reason why, mainly.
So the next thing that's in, and we've seen this again, is analyzing your data.
We've done it. We did it.
Yep.
We did it.
Data decisions, and I'm by trade, I did in my job. I was a process engineer for a little while, and not to go into my whole career, but have data analysis background and some stuff. But we did that. We had our travel program, and you can go to all these things now, a lot of these baseball indoor facilities, and I'm not sure what other. I think football might have some stuff where they do some
maybe very little
statistical. I know baseball's covered up with it.
Yeah.
But I know even like the hot rods, from working at the hot rods for a year or so, come to find they wear that statistical vest that draws data on anything from their heart rate while they're playing to. I mean, it's crazy the information it gathers. But it looks like when you're. The big thing is to make informed, data-driven decisions as a coach. So I mean, if you go look at it, and so and so's having a like we talked about, Thad Hall's one of your top shooters for last game. And then if you look at the information, I think for South, Raritan's leading. And who else is hand? Why would you not try to develop plays to put them in his hands?
Yeah.
To be right, when now, granted, we want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to shoot whatever, but
yeah,
your offense ought to be in basketball or use it the hot hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Idlet kid over at Bowling Green is tearing it up behind the 3 points, and they do well with that.
Yeah,
they do a lot of playmaking for him to be able to shoot a three.
Yeah.
So analyze your data, figure out where it's at. That's what's in. The other thing that's in that I struggle with is social media is in. Promoting your
brand, we'll
call it your team.
That's how recruiting is nowadays.
Yeah. You got Chat Snap and you got Tweaker and your X.
Yeah, but say it's not Twitter no more.
Book of Faces, and you got all this kind of stuff, and Instagram, and all these things that and they do affect your recruiting.
They do. Yep.
They do, and so that is what a big one that's in right now. And the last, we'll take this one, then we'll move on to what's out on this one. That way we can kind of begin to. We're at an hour, so I try to keep it under an hour and a half. But
yeah,
recreational sports That is in. So it looks like more kids are deciding to pick up recreational opportunities in sports and, play pickup games or this, that, and the other where it's not as organized.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
There's less stress.
Yeah, there's no stress.
You go have fun. So I always used to want to tell my kids, when we do practices or you do pickup games, just bring that mentality.
Yeah. Bring
that looseness. Bring that, mentality when you come play, because you'll play better.
But the thing about that, who weren't at practices and pickup games? What causes most of these kids stress? Kind of back into why these kids quit.
You're going to bring up the whole parent conversation again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. But, yeah. Maybe.
I think that's kind of why that's more in now. Is I think these kids are getting tired of the pressures of the parents.
In recreational sports, there is no pressure.
No.
I mean, I don't even know if they give away trophies anymore.
I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's been a while since I played.
I mean, we put so much pressure on a 10-year-old kid at a travel ball tournament to win a $5 ring.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, technically, we digress, but that's, again, we're going to have those conversations because that subject,
that's a whole episode.
Yeah, that one's a big subject for me. And if you're going to play.
Yep. Yeah.
Play. Don't play teams to make you look good because you hurt the kids. Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
What's on the way out?
What's on the way out? We just talked about it. Tunnel vision on winning.
Yeah.
As a coach, organizer, player, if you miss out on the smaller, equally important moments. So, I agree that winning is important, and I agree that losing is important. We are involved in a sport that you fail 70% of the time.
Yeah.
But it's how you fail, and it's what you learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you, again, one of the things that this next session, we'll talk about some of this when we talk about the next that's in and out. The other article it's a little bit different, but one of the things they talk about is tunnel vision on winning is we forget while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
From 6 to 12 years old, if your focus is winning,
wrong time for that.
Correct. Because you have to learn to teach these kids how to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to learn how to teach these kids that once they do lose, how are they going to take it and utilize it to advance their ability to make them better.
Yeah.
We always want to lose, and as a parent, we want to say something about the referees well, that referee missed that damn call. He ain't worth shit. That's what we want to say.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is our kids are listening to that and they hear that, so then they completely turn around and disrespect. They don't learn respect for the umpire.
Yep.
Well, then if little Johnny didn't get to play second base, and mom says, "Well, I don't like that coach. He don't know what he's doing because he won't play little Johnny at second base." Well, the kid hears that. If the kid hears that, again, now your kid is not going. The little Johnny's not going to perform for the coach because he's already been degraded.
Yep.
You can say what you want, but be careful of your audience.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Watch. Even we do that.
Yeah.
We did that. I would complain a lot about stuff, but I'd make sure it was between me and your mother, or me and you, and
the coaches.
You know, when there wasn't any kids around, but you're mentoring between 6 and 12. So turning around and making snide comments about stuff is not. But that's because you're focused on one thing:
winning.
You're focused on winning, and I don't. Winning is not everything, but winning is a lot.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying that, everybody should get a trophy.
No.
I'm anti everybody. You know that.
Yeah, no participation.
I'm anti everybody get a trophy. Now, here's another one that is out, and I kind of do agree with this. Specializing too early in a sport. That's out.
Yeah.
So that is another conversation that I have seen over the multiple years of here recently of travel organizations is more. I say that it says that, but in certain specializing in too early it's not about being a multi-sport athlete. Also, don't pigeonhole yourself into being only basketball. Try other sports. Don't pigeonhole yourself into being just a baseball player. Now, if you don't have any desire to play in this sport, that is different. But I think what they're trying to get you to say that's on the out is do multiple things.
Yeah.
Be a multiple sport. And your college coaches will tell you they like to see that. That means you can be coached by another individual.
Yep.
And again, that goes to, we ran a travel program. Your brother, my son, played for a travel program. But we've had a college coach tell you that's the worst thing you can do is playing for your dad.
Yeah, yeah.
And, that's why we kind of got him out underneath that. But long story short is winning is not everything.
Yeah.
And then also, we've experienced or we've had an experience where they wanted to pigeonhole someone in 7th and 8th grade. No. They're not developed.
Nope.
Don't utilize them for your benefit. Let them grow and develop. Don't hold them back. When you pigeonhole a kid and you say you're only going to PO or you're only going to quarterback or you're only going to do this as a 6th or 7th or 8th grader, you don't give them the opportunities to continue to learn. Now, there is a time frame.
Yep.
And maybe we can discuss that later of when that should happen, but not
middle school.
Definitely not middle school, and definitely not anything in younger middle school.
No.
So, one of the other things that's currently out for youth sports is poor sportsmanship.
Yep.
But you see it.
Where do you see the most? Pros. See a lot of pros.
We emulate what we idolize.
Yeah.
And they allow so much stuff in professional sports, and it's even gotten bad in college sports.
Yeah, it's gotten rough.
And I don't. Well, I can. Again, that's another conversation. I think my perspective is there's things that are causing some of that. The greatest thing that happened to sports was also the worst thing that happened to college sports is the
NIL.
The NIL, the money.
Yep.
And so we'll have that conversation. But I think that's drifted. And we'll read some statistics and stuff later on in an article that we'll talk about. It is drifted down to the high school. Do you know there's actually NIL in high school now?
Wow.
Yep.
No, it's not surprised though. Trying to get these top athletes to commit to these schools, but Wow, yeah, I didn't know they were fully coming to high school. There was talks about there was a couple that were.
No, I was reading an article the other day that some state has actually implemented high school sports association like KHSAA.
Mm-hmm.
They've actually implemented where they have, I think it was a cap, believe it or not, of $150,000 cap,
Wow.
and they're actually marketing their names. They're actually marketing their just like college got,
Wow.
but they capped it, and there's the whole article that maybe we can divulge into later on, but you know, that was the end of that little article. But so that's some pretty good information out there. And we'll come back to these articles. I've got a couple more. You know, one of the things I wanted to get into was trends for 2025 that are coming in that we'll talk about for youth sports. The other article I was going to discuss will be cost forcing out kids in youth sports, and that's another one. As the costing, and we'll talk about that in the next. We'll talk about basketball. So probably not this week, but not next week, but the week after. We'll pick this one back up.
Okay.
But I'd like to discuss what we already got planned for these guys. For our audience out there, we'll talk some basketball stuff.
Okay.
That's what's in season right now.
Yep.
Prepping for baseball.
Yep.
But I still think these subjects are important for our audience to understand.
Yeah.
What's affecting youth sports. The last one here that I had on the list was high pressure sports in America is horrible.
Yeah.
And we touched on that a little bit, but we'll kind of go over that article in a couple weeks, and we'll hit back on this stuff. But yeah, so that was kind of what I wanted to get started tonight, and that gives some information and some background. And then next week we'll divulge in a little bit to high school basketball.
Okay.
We'll get some information to AAU basketball and how all that stuff works, and we'll work onto that, and we'll get into that stuff. You know, one of the things I like to talk about next week is current of play. How I think that professional basketball has drifted way too far down.
It's drifted down bad.
I think that we've lost basketball into we want to play like the professionals, but you can't play like the professionals until you understand what they've mastered. Fundamentals.
Yep.
You know, understanding. I don't even think they call zones 3-2-2 zones and all that. I don't even know if they. I don't know what kind of defense.
I don't really watch NBA. To be honest with you.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about high school.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying is, watch some of the games this week. Catch our friends over at the Sporting Times, and those guys still do a good job. And catch them and watch a little bit of it. Really watch that aspect of it and see what you see. Because I was talking to a gentleman at work the other day, and we both are kind of in agreement that it's just it's organized chaos with no plan, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But we'll see. Watch it. We'll discuss it. But I've done a lot of talking tonight. You got anything to say?
I think we said about all I can think of.
Yeah. So, again, SOKY Sports Talk. Hope you enjoyed the show this evening. Again, we're in the basement. We're gonna name it. Welcome to the basement. That's what we're gonna start calling it.
The basement.
We're in the basement. Hopefully, warmer gets wetter. We'll get out and about in the town. We'll see how this goes. But we appreciate everybody that's watched our first intro. We appreciate everybody that's out there. The feedback. We've got some feedback, some suggestions, some ideas, some helpful hints, and we're trying to build this. I know there's some local ones that are interested in watching and listening. So maybe we can get this where everybody can actually see us down here, so they can see what we actually do.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of cool. But anyway, if you have nothing else, we're gonna get out here and let everybody go home and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yep.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
Check out SOKYSportsTalk.com or not .com at SOKYSportsTalk@gmail.com.
There you go.
I'll get it right. Check us out on Spotify. Check us out on YouTube, and flip over to our Facebook page and give us a shout out.
Yep.
So again, thank you. Have a good night, and
See you
we'll see you later.